Today's episode of BioArc is an adaptation of an unpublished chapter of Upton Sinclair's The Jungle. Weaver ants are one of the most unique members of the ant family, and they build their arboreal homes out of leaves. There are two species of weaver ants, and one of them inhabits the trees of Central Africa, while the other species ranges from India to northern Australia. Colonies often have around 500,000 workers who work hard building nests. A single colony can live in more than 100 nests, which is almost as many homes as an average billionaire has. And, much like billionaires' homes, or at least the process by which they accumulated wealth to buy those homes, the nests are constructed with child labor. Let's give a rundown of all of their many OSHA violations. Here are some worker ants investigating a leaf. The first thing you notice about them is that they are not wearing any personal protective equipment. And no, an exoskeleton on the head doesn't count as a hard hat. To construct the nest, workers will pull on leaves. That's right, with their mouths. The nest doesn't provide any tools for these ants to use. Imagine if the Empire State Building was built by people bolting steel beams together with their teeth. But here's one thing the workers get right. They use safe lifting practices. The ants do work together to lift the leaves for their nest. One worker will pull at a leaf with her mandibles and begin to bend it. More workers will join in to help and pull, but there's actually a sort of reverse bystander effect when it comes to workers joining in on the leaf bending. Typically, the more ants are already working on bending a leaf, the more likely a nearby ant will be to join in on the bending the leaf. Sometimes, to grab a leaf that's too far away, the workers will commit egregious workplace safety violations. They'll climb over each other. The climbed over ant will grab the climbing ant by her waist with her mandibles. They'll chain together like this until the far away leaf has been reached, at which point they'll pull the leaf to close the gap. There are some issues with this. Any area a worker walks or works over that is elevated 6 feet or higher above the lower level should have a guardrail or safety net system. I've heard some arguments that this chain of ants acts sort of like a fall arrest system, but that system is supposed to be made of ropes and harnesses, not out of other workers. Once leaves are bent together, workers will hold them in place like temporary staples while other workers bring in the larvae. It should go without saying, but it's illegal to use children for labor. I know, they're small and fit into machines more easily, but come on, guys. Unfortunately, weaver ant larvae play an integral part in the construction of the nests. They cement the leaves together with their silk. Let's not even get into the unsafe handling of these bodily, pathogen-laden byproducts. The adult worker will hold a larva in her mandibles and aim the larva at the gap. The worker ant sort of burps the silk out of the larva by tapping on its body with her antenna as if she was playing the baby ant like a bongo. Of course, each larvae can only create so much silk, so the ones who were used to glue the nest together will pupate without a cocoon. This doesn't seem to negatively affect their development, but don't tell that to any child labor apologists. Finished nests range in size. They can be as small as one leaf folded over on itself, but they can also get as big as a severed head. It should come as no surprise, given all the workplace safety violations that we've already touched on, that this severed head is not wearing a hard hat. Remarkably, even the biggest nests can be built in less than a day. This is good because, even though the nests are quite strong and waterproof, they must constantly build new ones to replace nests that get damaged in storms, and as the leaves the nests are built out of die, or when passerbys mistake them for piñatas and start whacking them. These leafy piñatas might not drop candy, but weaver ant larvae are a delicacy in their own right. In Thailand, a pound of weaver ant larvae is twice the price of high-quality beef. The larvae taste creamy, while the adults supposedly taste like minty wood. So that's something. But besides for being the products of agriculture, weaver ants, who are rabid insectivores, are also used as a natural sort of pesticide, and they have been for millennia. A botanist in 304 CE from the Western Jin dynasty wrote about them in the Nafeng Kaomu Zhuang, a flora that described the plants of South China and Vietnam. In it, the scholar described how weaver ants would be used by farmers to protect citrus orchard from pests. Farmers would propagate weaver ants throughout their entire orchard by connecting trees with bamboo bridges. These ants are still used as a natural pesticide today and are cheaper and more sustainable than chemical pesticides are. They've been successfully used across Southeast Asia and Australia for this purpose. The only con of using weaver ants as a natural pest control is that they also protect a pretty dangerous pest too: scale insects. In the United States, States, in 1990 alone, scale insects caused an estimated $5 billion of damages to crops. So, why do weaver ants betray us by protecting scale insects? It's pretty simple: honeydew. Honeydew is, essentially, bug poop. As scale insects and other honeydew-making machines like aphids feed on tree sap, the phloem, or the plant analog of blood, comes out at high speeds and pressures. It comes out at such high speeds, in fact, that the honeydew is pretty much forced out of the aphid's anus. The ants will suck this butt juice directly out of scale insects. And, for whatever reason, Upton Sinclair ended the chapter there.